What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Grady, and I listen to country music and whatever else I want to. And today I am refilming a video I already shot today that went disastrously, and then finally when I got it done, the file was corrupted, and it was really annoying. So hours later, I'm just getting back from a concert, and I'm like, you know what? No, I'm not putting my head on my pillow until this video gets freaking done. You are not going to win, computer. I'm going to film this video. And the video is an album roundup of everything I listened to in December and January. So the last month of 2018 and the first month of 2019. I know I've gotten behind on these, but hey, the channel's exploded. I've had a lot to do. It's hard to stay on top of them, but I got 7 albums I'm covering today. If you haven't seen one of these before, the way I do it is I go from my favorite album of that time period to my least favorite album of the time period at the end of the video. They were all really good and thought out at the beginning of this day, but look. It's late. I want to make this video happen, so I'm just going to go through these kind of loosey-goosey, and maybe it'll be better that way. Who knows? But let's get started. My number 1 album of January and December is Flatland Cavalry's Homeland Insecurity. Flatland Cavalry is a band that I actually first heard on this channel when I did a single roundup of their song Honey Wine. And it's a really warm, fun, happy song, and it really captures their sound really well. And that was my introduction to them. A lot of you guys have been saying, you gotta check out Flatland Cavalry, they're a band out of Texas. And wow, they're like my new favorites. I'm obsessed with this album. I'm obsessed with Flatland Cavalry. They are like this perfectly sweet, kind of happy, honky-tonky, western swing, lush, gorgeous music, and they're like turnpike troubadours, but without as much self-loathing and with more kind of sweet romance. And I listened to Homeland Insecurity probably 30 times all the way through this record. Can constellations on the popcorn ceiling. There are songs on here that are just absolutely so fun to listen to, like Old School, or Come Back Down, or Honey Wine. And then there's songs on here that are really tender, like Sleeping Alone, which is one of my Song of the Year candidates. The lead singer is a guy named Cleto Cordero, which is a songwriter's name if I've ever heard one. And he has a way with words. There's so many fun turns of phrase on this record, like at the beginning of Pretty Women, which is an amazing song. He says, no shade of ruby red Revlon lip liner could cover the pain in her smile or something. And but thinking about that phrase, ruby red Revlon lip liner, you get that RRRLLL sound, and it's just really nice to listen to. And he likes wordplay. At the beginning of Sleeping Alone, he says, counting constellations on the popcorn ceiling and staring at your picture on the wall as shades of lonely moonlight something through the blinds. I'm doing that from memory. That's how many times I've listened to this album. He's an incredible writer, and it's so appealing to listen to. The final 3 tracks on this record are a trifecta of awesome: Pretty Women, Sleeping Alone, and then Years From Now. Years From Now is a really lovely song that brings in so many instruments and like fiddle solos and this like whole symphony of awesome. And I think it's meant to kind of communicate almost an ascent into heaven at the end of the record. And it gets a little touch of maybe political, and it says like, one day we'll be free from all our homeland insecurity. And I think not only is that a statement about his kind of personal angst and his hope that one day in the afterlife he will be beyond that, but perhaps a little bit, being a band based in Texas, of a little bit of a statement on immigration, maybe? I'm not so sure that I'm planting my flag in that, but just the riff on the term homeland security and the ways in which like we feel as a country may be really threatened by that. I just feel like I'd be remiss to not point out that that's an observation I've made about this record that I haven't seen anyone else say. So let me know if you think I'm onto something there or not. Man, I think that these guys, they have a mission statement. It says, because I know that now because I've listened to all their stuff so many times and all their other albums, and I've like stalked their Twitter. But they have a phrase that they say, which is they want to be easy on the ears, heavy on the heart. And I really feel like they nail that. And I really appreciate that that's kind of their stance as a band, that we want to be nice to listen to, and we want to have stuff that moves people. So I think they really give you all these shades of fun and excitement and happiness and romance and a little bit of angst, but it's always tempered with hope. They're a really hopeful band, and I really just can't recommend them enough. I think this album's awesome. My only nitpick with it is sometimes the vocal is just kind of overly echoey, or kind of reverberates a little too much or something. I don't think it's the best foot forward always in the vocal recording sense, but still such a good album. I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. Absolutely one of my contenders for album of the year. I just love it, and thank you guys for recommending them. And I know there's a lot of big Texas fans. I know. I can't cover everyone, but I have a feeling about these guys that they're going to be around for a long time. Next on the list is Randy Houser's Magnolia. This album's awesome. I have a full review, so I'm not going to talk about it much here, but you can go check out that video. It's such a good album. It's bluesy, it's cool, it's a return to form. No Stone Unturned. I really hope that gets pushed as a single. No Tears Left to Cry is him being his inner Adele. Check that album out, guys. It's really good. Next on the list is Cody Johnson's Ain't Nothin' to It. Cody Johnson is another one that I've already reviewed this record in a full video, so you guys should check that out. I think I gave it a 7.5. It's just a strong, middle-of-the-road, nice record. It's another Texas guy, but he's got this whole distribution deal, co-distribution deal, whatever it is, with Warner Nashville, and so he's really starting to blow up in a mainstream sense, and this is a great record for it to happen on. It's gallant. It's just sort of oakish and strong. I think probably Ain't Nothin' to It'll be a big single. I think Fence Post might be. And if I had my way, Monday Morning Merle would. Check that song out if you don't do anything else with this album. Next up is a new band called Gone West and their EP Tides. Found Pontiolo and Wave Riders, but chose neither. The big star in Gone West is Colbie Caillat, who you probably know from Bubbly and Brighter Than the Sun and Lucky with Jason Mraz. She's kind of got this like sort of beachy, calm, adult contemporary pop thing going on. But her and her fiance Justin Young have teamed up with their friends Jason Reeves, a songwriter that I have loved ever since Terrified got sung on American Idol by Dee Dee Bonami. Him and his wife Nellie Joy, who was once in the Jane Deere Girls, who I definitely trashed at some point in an Entertainment Weekly review. The four of them are now together as friends and as a band called Gone West. Now, every part of me wanted to hold these guys at arm's length. I do not like when pop artists just decide, I'm going to go country, and they put it on like a pair of socks, and then they throw it in the trash when they've gotten their little bit extra of career relevance. That is so not my reaction to this project. I am really impressed. I feel like Gone West has made a record with not only a unique sound, but also one that is done reverently and with respect to the genre, with excellent songwriting, so much musicality, beautiful harmony, and yeah, a unique twist on it. And that unique twist is kind of this California, Hawaii country kind of sound. So you get a little bit of that kind of like bonfire, beach party, folk sound that's popular with bands like Edward Sharpe and the Magnetic Zeros. Their lead single will draw comparisons to that, and even like "Wake Me Up" by Avicii. I can see a lot of similarities with that song, but it's cool. It works. It's really good. The words on their lead single "Gone West" are awesome, and it's kind of a mission statement of the band, where it's taking that kind of adventurous inspiration from the naturalistic West. We've got words, where the canyons crash into the deep blue sea. She went out to the islands and found Paniolo, which are Hawaiian cowboys, and they sing about sugarcane, and they sing about the stars and Amarillo, and it's just beautiful. It's just that adventurous feeling that we've all felt of, I want to get in my car and go. And I think it's going to be a smash hit. Now, I was really surprised to find the other songs in the EP I actually like a lot too. Home is Where the Heartbreak Is. That is a classic country lyric that I'm sure a million songwriters are kicking themselves for not having thought of first. This Time is a gorgeous song. And then the one track I don't love on the EP, that of course The Highway, which has just become a pop station, is playing, is Confetti. And I don't love that one, and so for that reason, and the fact that it's an EP, I'm just going to give this a 7, but I'm super intrigued, and I actually really like them. And I think Colbie Caillat, pop has moved so far this way and country has moved so far this way that I actually kind of think this is a better lane for her than pop would have been. So good on you, Gone West. I'm excited to see where you go. The next record I want to mention is Old News by the Steel Woods. Now that drunk tank in Atlanta. So many of you guys wanted me to listen to this record, and I did. And it's a Southern rock record, and it is a pretty dark and heavy record, and it is a long record. And that was kind of like a distancing factor for me. I don't love albums that are that long. It's like 70 minutes long almost. And it is pretty angry, and it is pretty dark. There are some songs on here that I think are really excellent. I really like Anna Lee, actually. That's one that stood out to me. Old News, the title track, is a song about kind of our divided nature as a country, and he'd hate to think that thinking is old news. And it's maybe a little heavy-handed for my taste, but it's a good song. I mean, you can feel why it's sort of anthemic. And then, what is the song that's like, Listen, My Friend? There's a song on here about alcoholism where you gotta put the drink down. I really like that one as well. On the whole, though, I really prefer tighter songs, really muscular compositions where every little line that's in there, every moment in the music that's in there needs to be there. And that's not their thing. They make like long 6-minute opuses. And so it's not the record for me necessarily, but I can hear the quality in it at the same time. So I'm just going to say like a 6.3 out of 10 is what I'd give this record. But again, it's kind of, Southern rock is kind of not my thing. I can get into Blackberry Smoke, I can get into American Aquarium. This one's a little further on the heavy rock end, and that's just not exactly what I do. Then we've got Brett Young's Ticket to LA.
We can just stay here in this minute, lose all track of time.
Now, Brett Young is someone that I have often criticized as being just completely vanilla, and that's definitely still the case on Ticket to LA. This album is, in a word, bland. But it's better than I thought it would be. I mean, Brett does have a kind of interesting tone. I don't think it always sounds very nice live, but it does record really well. And so I got to give him kudos because his voice sounds good. And there are a few songs on here that I think are really strong. I think Ship in the Bottle is the big standout to me. He describes himself as the bottle and this girl as a ship, and kind of the only way she's going to be able to move on, and he wants her to move on, is to break him. I think that's a cool lyric, and I like it a lot. I also really like Where You Want Me. It's kind of this a little bit kind of disco-y a little bit, but in a less disco-y than High Horse by Casey Musgraves, but it just kind of works. And this album actually instrumentally is a lot better than I thought it would be. I was expecting a lot of click tracks, a lot of poppiness, and instead there is some of that, and way too much of it on Chapters. Oh my gosh, Chapters is like the best lyric partnered with the worst production on this album, and it's a Gavin DeGraw co-write, and it just falls into this no man's land where it's not poppy enough, and it's not country enough, and it's not sparse enough to really carry this serious lyric about the chapters of his life. So yeah, my main issue with the whole record is just that I don't like that no man's land. If you're gonna go pop, go pop. Go like ladies in the 90s pop, like Lauren Elena did. Because you want to feel a sugar rush when you are listening to pop music, and you want to feel reflective and introspective when you are listening to a slow country song, but to kind of try and merge the two, to me, everyone loses, and you get an album that's really bland and forgettable. Even an album where I can acknowledge there's some good writing on this record, but most of it is pretty lovey-dovey, sweet songs, and just forgettable. It's just a little bit forgettable. So I'm going to say 4.5 on this record, but I did not hate it the way I thought. It didn't like drum up a visceral response in me the way I kind of expected it to. The last record, and definitely my least favorite record from this time period, is Mitchell Tenpenny's Telling All My Secrets.
Some people don't know when to quit, and that's why they quit.
Now, you guys know that the debate about what is country and what is not country is a difficult one to have, because who is to say? You know, there are the people in Nashville that are making a lot of money, and they're like, well, this is what country music is. And then there are all the people that grew up listening to country music, and they're like, but it doesn't sound like what it was. And we got to have some grace for both sides of the debate. But how the heck can this record be considered a country record? I mean, at what point do you have to question why are we allowing it to be classified as country? It just doesn't really make sense. That's not to say that he didn't have a country upbringing. It's just to say that the sound of this record is just as pop as it could be. And it's not an especially, I think, inviting sound. I think, put that to the side. I think it's a really poppy production on the record, but I also just don't find it a very appealing record to listen to. Mitchell Tenpenny has an interesting voice. It's going to get a million comparisons to John Mayer because he sounds exactly like John Mayer. And it can feel a little bit... his delivery can have a sort of playa quality. I'm trying to avoid the word douchebag, but that's the word that was coming to mind. And these songs and these words and this production definitely just exacerbates that problem. This whole album to me feels pretty sleazy, and maybe that was because the first time I heard anything from this record it was the song Bitches, which it has some humor to it, you know, but it is also a really immature thing to say, like, I don't deal with bitches no more, and just call anyone that broke up with you that. It's pretty chauvinistic and can feel that way. And there's so many songs on this record that just come across to me as pretty immature. There's a lot of themes of drinking too much and then calling some girl and then really wanting to just have sex with her. Those are kind of the themes of the record on songs like Alcohol You Later or Drunk Me and Goner. And I don't know, to me it just feels really, really shallow as a record. I don't like the sound of it at all. I don't remember where it is on this record, but some of the production choices, I think it's on Somebody Ain't You, where it's this like kind of like a cappella blips and blurbs and little guitar loops that are going too fast. It's just 1-800 too much. And it's very hard to then get to a more serious song at the end, like Walk Like Him, and take it seriously. That's one of my least favorite things that every Nashville record does now, where they have like 20 sex jams, and then they have a song that's like, I want to be like Jesus at the end. And granted, anyone's welcome to think that, but it's hard to take seriously. I mean, hello, did you just hear what you said for the last hour? So, man, I really dislike the sound of this record. I really don't like the lyrics on this record, and I really just find it bad and not country. So I would give it like a 2.7. Maybe that's mean. Maybe a 2.8. But yeah, that's my least favorite from this period, and I do think he's talented as a singer, but it's not for me. So those are my thoughts on records that I listened to in December and January, and let me know what you guys thought of these records. I'm sure I missed some things, but it's all good. I got some more stuff coming up this week. Hopefully it all records well, and I love you guys. Thanks so much for checking out my channel. Thanks for liking my channel, and thanks for being patient with me as I kind of roll into the next phase of what this channel is going to be. Okay, bye all.